Hello everyone, welcome back to another video. So today we're going to talk about get automatic notification on expiring Azure app secrets with the Logic app. So about a year ago, we made a video on this, but for some people it did work, but for other folks it did not. And looks like Microsoft updated something on their end, and that is probably the reason why it is not working as expected. So here we are with the second part of the video. So we will be building this Logic app again from scratch, and we'll make sure that it stays aligned with the latest update that we have from Microsoft on Logic apps. So let's get started. So here I have, so before we get started, I'll show you what we are building and give you a demo of it, and then we'll start from scratch. Okay, so here we have is what the Logic app that we're going to develop. So first few steps are similar to what we have in our previous video. So there's going to be a reoccurrence. Now it depends upon you what trigger that you choose to trigger this Logic app. So I'll leave it that to you. There are a few steps that we're going to perform prerequisite. So we have app ID, display name, password credential. So these are the variables that we have. After having the variables, we're going to get a token. So this is the token that we have for Microsoft Graph. Okay. So once you have the token, you're going to pass the JSON to get the bearer token in the JSON format. And then we're going to do a get application graph API call. So this call will be doing it using the token that we have to get the application app registration that we have in our Azure tenant. And then we're going to pass this JSON again. Once the JSON is passed, we're going to do a for each. So each value here will have the app ID, display name, and password credentials. So we're gonna set those value here in this variables. Once we set these values here, we're gonna run another for each loop for each password credential. And inside that, we have a condition that the end time that we have for app registration. So this is gonna be the expiry date time. So if it is equal to or less than 2 days time and whatever condition you put in here. So for me, in my case, I have given utcNow. Date has to be 2 years, less than 2 years. So you can edit anything. I'll link to the documentation. I'll give you a link in the description to the documentation of this variable that you can set here. So depending upon this condition, you will get an email that your app is about to expire. So I'll show you a sample email. How does it look like? So let me open my Outlook app, and there you go. So this is the sample email that's how it would look like. So your application name and name of your application, which is about to expire, your app ID, and then the location where the app is located. You can even customize this based on your needs. I'm just giving you an example how to do that. So all these values would be set dynamically, and we would see how to do that. Now, the prerequisite for this app, I'm assuming that you do have the Graph API setup already done. Okay, if you need that tutorial, you can follow this old video where I've already shown how to create the Graph API, how to create a app registration and configure Graph API. Okay, and there are plenty other videos on this channel to show you how to create an app registration and get an access token and call the Graph API. All right, so let's get started. So I'm going to go ahead and create a Logic app from the scratch. I'm going to go to home, create a resource, Logic app. All right, so there you go. So we have a Logic app. I'm going to use the same resource group that I have. Logic app name, my Logic app. So that name already exists. Okay, I'm up with the new name. I'm going to choose consumption plan. I do not need redundancy, so update this setting as per your needs. For me, I'm just doing this for the tutorial, so I don't need any of these values here. So I'm just going to click on review and create. All right, looks good. Let's create. It's submitting the deployment. All right, the deployment is progress, and I guess we should be good to go. I'm gonna skip this part. Okay, there you go. There it is. It was fast. All right. So Logic App is here. You're gonna go to the Logic App Designer first, and yeah. So first thing first, we'll add a trigger. So in my case, I'm just doing a reoccurrence to have this app scheduled to run every day at least once. So I'm going to add the interval 1 day. So every day should be runs at least once. So that's the reoccurrence that I'm going to put here. You're going to change this as per your needs. Next thing I'm going to do is set a variable. So I'm going to initialize few variable. Okay, initialize variable. Again, I'll need three and one more. Okay, so first variable gonna be app ID. App ID it's gonna be string. Second variable gonna be display name, and it would be display name should be string again. And third one gonna be password credential. So those of you who don't know what exactly why do we need this three variables, you can watch our previous video, or else I can show you here quickly. Um, this is the graph API that we're going to call in our logic app. So let me get an access token real quick. So I've got the access token, and this is the graph API call that we're going to do uh, in order to get app registration details. So you see I've got the details here, and these are the three things that we are requesting: the app ID, display name, and the password credential. So if you see, the app ID is the ID client ID of the app registration, display name is the name of the app, and password credential the array that we're going to use. So this has the display name of the client secret and the end time on when this client secret is going to expire. So this is exactly what we need, and this value we are going to compare in our if condition. All right, so let's move ahead. So we have got password credential. I'll make sure the spellings are correct, not that it matters, but all right. So there we have it, those three variables there. And then okay, then once we have that, so next step is going to be on getting an access token. So I'll click on add action. So you're gonna get a HTTP call. So click on HTTP request. So I already have this on my postman on getting an access token. So this is how we're gonna do it. So doing a post request, I'm gonna do a post, and then in the body, I'm gonna put in what I have in here and the header that we need. So content type, it has to be this application slash URL encoded. So there we have it. I'll click on save. And once we have this, I'll just rename this to get token. So once we have this get token, so next step gonna be is to pass this into a JSON format so that we could have the dynamic variable. So pass JSON. Content is what we're gonna get from the previous call. So let's get this from body and schema. So here I'm going to do and paste the body that we will be getting in the return. So this is how the body gonna look like. All right, save. So once we have the token in the JSON format, I'm gonna do a HTTP get call again. This time it's gonna be the get call to the graph API endpoint. Call graph API. It's going to be a get request. So the URL here is going to be this one. Get call, and in the authentication, we would be doing a raw call, and value gonna get from the access token that we're gonna get above. So body slash access token. All right, so let's save this and run this for now to see if that is working as expected. Let's see the run history now. It's still running. Okay, and there we have it. So we have successfully called the graph API till now. Let's go back to the designer and go to the next steps. So next, we're gonna pass the response from the graph API calls. Again, I'm gonna add a pass JSON. There we have it. So this time we're gonna get the response from the graph API call and schema again. We have to load the payload. So I already have a payload here. So I'll make sure I have this for you in the description below. Let me copy this real quick. Oh, there you have it. All right. Parse graph call. You can name it anything as you want. I'm gonna save it. So once we have this parse value, next step we're gonna do is have a for each loop. So let's okay. So next step that we're gonna have is a for each loop. So I'll just click on add a for each loop. Click on add. We have this for each. I'm gonna click on dynamic variable and make sure you select body value here from the previous call. Should go ahead and click on add action now inside the for each loop. I'm gonna populate the variables. So set variable. So we have three variables. So all these three variables we're gonna set. So the first one is the app ID. I'm gonna click on dynamic content and select app ID from the parse graph call. Okay, set variable app ID. Next one is the display name. So set variable again. Set variable select from here, display name, and then again the dynamic content has to be the display name. Display name from here. Okay, let's add it all over again. Display name. There you have it. Change this to display name. And last one that we have, which we need, is the password credentials. So I'm going to set the variable for password credentials, and again the dynamic content from the parse graph API call. It has to be custom key identifier. Okay, let's see more. It should be the password credential. There you have it. All right, and I'm going to set this to password credential. All right. Okay, so we have all this, and then we're gonna run another for each loop to have this to check the password credential. Let's click on add action for each. So there you go. The reason why we are adding another for each, because there could be an app registration where you have more than one password credential, more than one secret. So password credential. Um, so the output from the previous step is body password credential. So that's what it is right now. So inside this, we going to add a condition. So I go and add a condition here. All right. So this condition, I have written it here. I'll make sure I have this in the description below. I'll click on add the expression dynamic content. I'm going to get the value from the for each loop, the current item for each, and then we'll need an end date time. So currently for each loop is iterating the password credential, and we have end date time inside that. If I can show you really quick in Postman, see the password credential is here, and inside the password credential we do have end date time. So this is exactly what this condition gonna pick up, and it is less than the condition that we gonna specify. So add to time is the attribute that we're gonna use. So I'm going to use the current time, and if it is less than 2 years, if it is expiring within 2 years, I'll be doing that. In case you want to have different date here, for example, if you want to check if the particular app registration is going to expire in 14 days, so you can change this to 14 and then change the year to day. Okay, that's how you would be doing it. So I'm just going to leave it here. You can change it as per your need. I'll drop a link to the description how to configure this documentation link here. I'm just gonna go ahead and save this for now. And when this condition is true, I'll need to send an email. So that's our last step. So I'm gonna look for Outlook, send email. Okay, so I'm gonna send email to myself, and subject, I have that already, I guess. Make sure you have this dynamic content here. I'm going to add dynamic content for you here so you know how to add that. So app ID, dynamic content, and from here, no, not the display name, we'll need an app ID. So I'll just remove it from here, app ID, and the name. So here the name has to be the display name. So again, dynamic content, display name, add. And in the body, so again, you can configure this email as per your need. I'm going to edit this again. Just remove this app ID. It's going to be the app ID from here. Add it there. The name of the app. Let's add this real quick. Display name, add, and here we'll need an app ID. So you can customize this email as per your need. I'm just showing you this. Um, there we have the app ID. Okay, so there we have it. Here, I guess I pasted this wrong. We have the subject here. I'm gonna paste the subject here, and we will need a name here. So let's quickly grab the name. Okay, so I guess we are good here. I'm just gonna save this. Let's see if that works. Oh no, click on save. Okay, it is successfully saved. So now we are good. Let's try to run this up. I'll quickly open my Outlook app to see if that works out. So right now it's 12:15. Let's see if we get any email. First, we need to make sure our app runs. Let's go to the run history, and it failed. Let's see what failed. I'll scroll down. Okay, let's see. Scroll down. Condition, end date time. For each end date time is 2 year. Let's see the run history again. What is going wrong? Okay, let's see the previous value. What have we got? Okay, so this is yeah, this is working as expected. The for each loop did work as expected. However, the condition that we have, so there's something wrong with the condition. You can skip this step, or you can forward this video if you just want the end goal and not to see how we're gonna solve this. So add to time. Yeah, this looks good. This looks good. And here, end date time for each current item. I'm gonna add this. It is looking good for each. Oh, okay. I guess it is taking this one. I got where the problem is. So I'll click on FX. So in the dynamic content, we were selecting for each. So this was the first for each loop. We will need the second for each loop, that is this one. And inside this one, we'll need to add our end date time attribute. So that's the mistake that we were making. Okay. And I guess now it should work as expected. Click on run. I'm gonna paste the whole code view in my GitHub and paste the link in the description below so you can check that out at the end and make sure you are following along. Let's see. Now it should work as expected. There you go. We are getting the emails. So if I click on sample email, your application name is about to expire. This is to notify that your app ID with name is about to expire. Make sure. So you can make columns. You can use HTTP page. You can use tables, HTML to format this values here to make it more appealing, and you can use the formattings there to make sure it looks more appealing. But yeah, this is how it works, and we are getting the emails as per the new Microsoft Logic app. So there you go. Let me know if you have any questions. So there were other folks on the video who were asking what to do in case their app has certificates in case of secrets. So in that case, there are one more parameter that you will need is key credential, I guess. Let me remove this to check what what are we talking about. So if I click on the get request here, okay, the token expire. Let me click on the get token, click on proceed. So here, if you talk about app registration which have certificates, so in that case, this is the parameter that you will have to look forward to. So key credential. So in case where app registration has client secret in plain format, so password credential is the array that populates. But in case where app registration is using certificates, the key credential gets populated. So if I can give you a quick example, key credentials that I have one. Oh no, I guess I do not have any app with key credential. So whenever you have a certificate, so this is the array that you need to look forward to. You'll have to make sure you have that here, so it gets populated. It gets so this is the get request that you're going to use along with the key credential to make sure you have that as well in your Logic app. So there you can also have one more branch here doing a for each loop, checking key credential instead of password credential as per your need. So if you have question about false condition, you can again edit this as per your need, but in my case it was not required. So that's all guys, that's all we have for today, and let me know if you have any questions regarding this. Alrighty then, adios until next time.